Selamat pagi. Selamat datang di Disrupto Fest 2020 Exploration Experimentation. Road to Indonesia 2045. Disrupto Fest merupakan festival inovatif, teknologi, sains, bisnis, dan gaya hidup tahunan diadakan secara virtual. Disrupto Fest 2020 merupakan kolaborasi antara Disrupto, Samara Life, KVB, serta didukung oleh Sampurna University sebagai presenting partner untuk channel Business and Lifestyle. Ada Merch, Indica Energy, Petrosa, British Council, Plaza Indonesia, dan Plus Jakarta. Perkenalkan, namaku Idelia Risella, dan kali ini akan menjadi moderator untuk sesi Jumpstarting Delivery Culture bersama dengan narasumber kita, Filippo Candrini. Tapi sebelum kita masuk ke diskusi, aku mau kasih info dulu nih. Sambil menikmati Disrupto Fest 2020 ini, kamu juga bisa berdonasi dalam Disrupto Berbagi melalui benihbaik.com dan berkontribusi untuk membantu tenaga pengajar terdampak pandemi seperti guru honorer dan siswa-siswa kurang beruntung yang belum bisa mendapatkan akses belajar menggunakan internet. Nah, caranya mudah. Kamu bisa scan QR Code yang ada di layar sebelah kanan bawah selama acara berlangsung. Atau kamu juga bisa berdonasi melalui situs benihbaik.com dan pilih program berbagi kebaikan untuk pendidikan bersama Disrupto Fest. Nah, selain Business and Lifestyle yang sedang kamu tonton saat ini bareng saya, di Disrupto Fest 2020 ini ada channel lain juga, yaitu Tech and Science. Dan akan diakhiri dengan program musik nanti malam. Sementara untuk program workshop, kamu bisa mengikutinya melalui aplikasi Cakap. Untuk jadwal lengkap, jangan lupa untuk di-follow juga Instagram @disrupto.id atau buka www.disrupto.co.id. Nah, aku mau ngingetin juga, kalau ada yang mau posting tentang keseruan kita selama Disrupto Fest 2020, di sosial media pastinya, jangan lupa untuk menggunakan hashtag Disrupto Fest 2020 dan hashtag Exploration Experimentation. Dan jangan lupa juga untuk tag @disrupto.id. Well then, let's start. Since the beginning of COVID-19 pandemic, government and health organizations has not stopped raising awareness to stay home to avoid physical contacts. Not only it has rapidly changed our daily routine, such as work, school, social activity, but also our behavior as a consumer. Our buying culture changes due to the inability to go out and experience traditional shopping, especially in the way of how we get the things we want. Although delivery service is considered familiar to most of us, somehow during pandemic, it seems to be the only rational way for everybody. While it's easy to imagine getting post delivered to your door, it's another thing having your fresh groceries sent to your door. So then I wonder how this pandemic really shapes consumer behavior and eventually shaped also the business, especially in new normal era. We're going to get the big picture of delivery culture shaped by pandemic, especially for our essential needs, from our special guest who will help us to try to make sense of it all. He's the managing director from HappyFresh Indonesia. Please welcome Filippo Candrini.
Halo, selamat siang everyone.
Selamat siang, good morning. Is it siang or pagi? Okay, good morning Filippo, it's nice to see you here. Thank you so much for joining us on Disrupto Fest 2020. How are you?
Very good, I'm very good. Thanks for asking, and thanks for the Disrupto team for inviting me here to speak to everyone about HappyFresh and the way we are managing this pandemic time as an online grocery platform.
Okay, so I'm going to start with my first question. I'm going to start with your own opinion and your own observation about the pandemic and how it changes our behavior as consumer. Based on your observation, can you please explain to us briefly, how does the pandemic actually change our behavior as a consumer?
As a consumers, we do see a major shift. From day to night, services like us grocery services, food services became a necessity. We became all of a sudden something really needed. Yeah?
Yeah.
We do see also how the consumer has changed in the way they do the shopping. Especially in the beginning when we had the strong restrictions here in Jakarta and in the other parts of Indonesia, a lot of consumers rushed to online services as well as offline supermarkets in the beginning. Yeah, there was a sense of little panic buying as well within the consumers, within the population. Luckily enough, I could say, working behind the scenes and with supermarket partners, the government as well as supermarket did a very good job to make sure that the population didn't go crazy at all. We also put some measures within our app as well to make sure that necessity goods, sembako products were not shopped by the same person too much, to make sure that like everyone could reach and could get them.
Right. About that,
a very stressful time to really jumpstart our operations from like a normal day-to-day to a pandemic environment. Absolutely.
Right. We can imagine that perfectly because this delivery culture suddenly evolved rapidly, like from only one of the options into the only options, only rational options that we have. So I think, is it true that businesses have to like be very agile right now to transform into digital and also have their delivery service in their options?
Yeah, as I said, like, yeah, we became from day to night an essential service. And I think that ultimately a company like us had to really relook completely how we were doing operations. And I'm not just talking about how we serve the customers in a safe environment, how we keep our fleet of shoppers and drivers safe, but really how we look at A to Z at the process. We had to, for instance, look at our tech and product roadmap. All of a sudden, infrastructure changes had to take place sooner than later. Some features, such as the one I mentioned, to limit purchase of sembako, to also allow donation from our users to associations for medical supplies. All these things have added to the roadmap of our teams all of a sudden. Company like us obviously have tech at the core, so we can be more agile than usual corporates, but this doesn't mean that it makes things simple. As any other company, we had to move all our office workforce at work from home. We had a lot of people that started to work together, new joiners that didn't meet each other in real life, sort of speaking. We had to share a lot of tips and habits on how to work from home. It has been really challenging, and we're still in the midst of it, I would say.
Okay. Well, about that, can you tell us a little bit more about HappyFresh and how does it try to answer this consumer behavior change?
Yeah, maybe just like in a nutshell for the audience that doesn't know about HappyFresh. So HappyFresh has been founded in early 2015, headquartered here in Jakarta, Indonesia. And since then, we had brought operations also to Malaysia and Thailand. In Indonesia, we work in Greater Jakarta area, Jabodetabek, Bandung, Surabaya, and Malang. The company is the brainchild of our CTO and founder, Pak Fajar. He realized that his only contribution to shopping, to grocery shopping, was pushing the cart together with his family at the supermarkets. And seeing also the trend across the globe, he thought that this could have changed also in Southeast Asia. And since then, fast-track it to nowadays, we have delivered more than 3 million orders. We partner with 35 supermarkets around the region. And we have also reached out to more cities, as I mentioned to you. This is a bit the 5 years of HappyFresh snapshot. The service itself Also, it's a bit peculiar. We need to consider that online groceries is something very personal, very touchy. We deliver anything that is sold in a supermarket and can fit our delivery boxes. And by saying this, I refer to a lot of products that needs also the cold chain to be maintained along the way. So we employ personal shoppers that are physically staying within the supermarket facility during the whole shift, and they are trained for picking groceries. And then once they get the products, then we have a delivery riders fleet that will deliver to the customers. We have thermal bags, we have thermal insulated boxes, so we can make sure that ice creams, fresh, frozen products are also delivered to the customers in the proper way. It's what we try to achieve is also what we try to deliver is a weekly grocery experience, as we call it. So we really try to cover fresh pantry snacks, like if you were to do like an offline groceries shopping.
Okay. Well, maybe I'm a grocery delivery virgin, so I don't really understand how it actually works. But from picking up the fruits into delivering it to your door, how many people are actually in charge of that in the process?
So customer can choose deliveries same day or next days. Yeah, we do see a majority of consumers, especially in Indonesia, that like and prefer same day deliveries. Also instant deliveries. That is also something that we offer in certain areas of the cities. So the process goes by itself, right? The personal shopper would receive a notification with the order with all the products that has to be picked. We already sort them in a way that kind of map the store facility itself so that they know exactly where to go. We reiterate this because we know that the supermarket also changed the locations of some products every now and then. And then the products get purchased and then passed to the rider. So it's a two people fulfillment model in that sense. We do that because we know that with having like one shopper in the facilities, first we can purchase more than one orders at a time. Yeah, we call it pooling. Right? We can pool more orders. Yeah. So it makes our operations more utilized. And at the same time, because having the same person always in the store, make sure that she gets to know, usually our personal shoppers are, guess what, female, because they know the best about groceries, but we also have a good part also of male personal shoppers. So they know exactly where the products are. They can read the shopper notes that a customer leave to them. So for example, they can ask at the meat counter to get the chicken cut in pieces, for example, or the fish be cleaned up, right? The watermelon may be cut in two. There's a lot of requests that can come through.
Right. So you can actually go to that into details like that.
Yeah. I think that we've been working in online groceries for 5 years, so I can say the level of complexities of online groceries is far exceeding more compared to like other more traditional e-commerce that could come.
Yeah.
First, because we have a lot of assortment. So we digitalized overall in Indonesia something in between 50 and 60,000 SKUs. So we took the picture, right. We took the content, we know the dimension, we know all of that about those products, right? So there is a lot of work and research into that. And obviously, as the purchase itself usually goes in between 20, 25 items, it's not one single portion, one single pack, right? There is a lot of complexity that goes into the service.
So yeah, I'm sure it's a hard work, but once you're there, it's very easily to be personalized, like you said before.
Yeah, I think ultimately like personalizations and the way we could personalize the experience is very dear to us. Why is this? Is because we look at our consumers, right? And they are mostly women. 80% of our customers are women. They are in the age bracket that goes between 30 to 40, 45. But why is that? Because that's the age where they start to create their own family. So they start to take care of a household, right? Before they might have been living alone or with their family. So someone else in the family household was taking care of groceries. So we want to first educate this mobile first users, and also like online grocery first users, to do shopping in a personal way. What we spend a lot of time and commitment is also in creating content. We have a lot of, for example, recipes on how to cook traditional food, also Western food. We have a lot of videos also that shows how to create and make also dessert and food, especially during the pandemic. But why is that? Because we realize that most of our audience and our consumers are relatively young and new to doing groceries. So we want to give them this extra help, sort of saying.
Right. So if I want to cook Western food, I can just tell them, hey, what do I need for Western food? And then they're going to buy it from me.
And also when it comes to the app, we are working hard to make sure that what I see when I enter HappyFresh, I choose the supermarket that I want to shop from. By continuously shopping on HappyFresh, the app already has an algorithm that learn all the way and shows me products that could be relevant for my shopping experience, that are very different probably than the one that you or anyone else would shop. So I save time, and it's more convenient in that sense, because with few taps I get my grocery done.
Yeah. Okay. That's really cool. But let's go to the business. How did the pandemic actually affect your business? I mean, is there any difference since you've been working with the groceries delivery for 5 years now, and now it's pandemic, since everybody's probably trying to use delivery since they can go out. Does it actually affect your business, or is it just always the same?
No, it definitely did. And as I mentioned earlier, like, we had this spike in traffic 5 times, up to 10 times on certain days of the week that nobody was prepared for, right? We did know the trend. We did see that this was coming. So we did a bit of preparations ahead of it. But we didn't know the scale of that. So as a business, a lot of our back office operation had to change. We had to staff ourselves also in a different form. We had more back office to take care of post fulfillment, to take care of the financial aspects, to take care of hiring a big amount of shoppers and drivers in very short time. And we had to move this towards like a full online hiring process as well. There's been like a lot of challenges around that. But very rewarding, because we did realize, and I really can't stress to stop thanking my team over and over, because we really worked like tirelessly to provide what was the best experience that we could in those 2-3 weeks of little chaos. Since you asked, since then, the volume that we are shipping, like the amount of new customers and returning customers that are joining the platforms, has been quite steady since then. So I don't see that we would go back to what it was before. There's been also a lot of research that shows that in other markets, I've read recently that basically what the pandemic did to our business was fast tracking the consumers' adoptions of online groceries for about 2-3 years. So we are basically seeing 2022, 2023 numbers.
Okay. Well, so it's a pandemic has changed our behavior quite permanently.
Conscious that the risks of COVID is still out there, especially in Indonesia. We see that these numbers still have to stabilize, so we still need to be very careful. So I still want to stress, like, wearing masks in public, taking really good social habits as much as possible. I think this is something that we will need to coexist with, because from the time that we get a vaccine to the time that it's mass produced and so on, we're looking at a time span of 2 years if it goes well, right? So we really need to adapt to this, to the new rules of the game, I would say. But it's definitely possible, and I do believe that it has been hard for many companies. For us, it's also been hard in certain ways, I don't deny. But I think that absolutely this like fast things and getting organized for like both corporate organizations, companies, and startup. So like risk assessment, flows, this will become very important for moving forward.
Cool. Okay, got it. But now I'm very curious about this next question. Grocery delivery was actually perceived as a luxury service since, probably the price and also the access, people who are quite well educated about technology are the ones actually using it. But how did you position HappyFresh in the market actually? Since now everybody's using it and everybody are forced to actually understand technology more.
Yeah. I think like e-groceries had grocery adoption has usually been in urban areas. Why is that? Because in these areas you find the urban population that has time as its most scarcity. People working in offices, people getting stuck in traffic, maybe 1-2 hours to go back and forth, back to the office, home, or even just to do groceries is more challenging than elsewhere. So typically, e-groceries has been associated to like a luxury concierge product. I think that what we would like to be is luxurious in the service, but affordable for anyone. And in order to do that, I think it's also important that we look at who we partner with and how we serve our consumers, right? So in Indonesia, we work with, it's about 15 brand supermarkets. So we serve from the mass market. So we have areas of the city that are more mass market, and we have the right partners for that. But we can also serve like a premium segment. So we try to embrace all, because ultimately groceries is a need that doesn't look at race, gender, or
right.
Everybody needs that, right?
Yeah.
Adoption came first in the urban areas, but as you mentioned, a lot of people now find themselves kind of forced to get used to know how to use a mobile phone, how to use applications. And of course, this would be very interesting for us because even during the pandemic, we've seen like a spike of new customers, and the real answers, the real questions that we need to look at is what cohort of users are those? Typically, as I told you, like we serve female in the 30-45 years brackets, but I'm sure that like we will see, and as we will see the continues of the situation, we will see like more and more users that are maybe in the 50+ years old bracket, because they are the one more exposed also to the virus, and they don't want to take risks, right? They should not take risks using services like us. So it's important that we start to evolve us as other startups to really understand who are these new users and how we can serve them, probably with different features, make things slightly easier, make things more direct, a gamification of sort, but in a different way. Right?
Yeah. All right. Yes, but that was the strategies that we should use to adapt with new normal. But one of the things that I'm also very curious about is how HappyFresh. What is the strategy that HappyFresh do to make the customer familiar with the technology? How do you familiarizing the delivery culture to the market?
Yeah, first of all, I think that looking at countries' differences, like Indonesia is a country that, since there are a lot of big e-commerce players and delivery players, is quite well off when it comes to mobile adoption, when it comes to getting products delivered to your home, compared to markets like Europe, for example, where groceries has been something like has been something received just recently because of the pandemic, right? So we first need to acknowledge that we are in a position where already there is a large stratus of the population that use online services to get products, food, groceries as delivered home. So the education itself is actually happening in the market, and I think that we are all contributing to this. HappyFresh as well as other e-commerce companies. And then like in the sense of like that you asked me like how HappyFresh is educating these users, right? So
yeah,
whenever we go to market with our campaigns, our let's say Facebook ads, for example, we tend to have different messages and different educational information for different customers. So if you have used HappyFresh, for example, in the past, you would see certain advertisements or certain videos that reminds you about the use of HappyFresh or the advantages of using HappyFresh. If you are like a customer that never used it, of course, like the content itself would be driven towards explaining you how to use it, right? So this is one of the ways we get that.
Right. So not only we get to personalize our shopping behavior in HappyFresh, but we also can but you also personalize the way you educate us or educate people how to use HappyFresh or delivery service. Is that what you're saying?
Absolutely. At each stage of the customer lifetime, we have a different messaging for them, right? And the more you know about the customer, also the more you know what to communicate to them, what, for example, what promotion, what advertisement, what service to highlight to them more than others.
All right. Okay. Now I want to ask a little bit about your experience, since I'm a
HappyFresh that the company had started operation for 5-6 months, I think. A little bit about my background. I was leading operations for a food delivery company in Vietnam. So I've been used to I moved to Indonesia 5 years ago. My first location, my first house was seeing a HappyFresh driver on the street. And since then I was like, wow, then okay, everything exists. It's actually happening. And then I tried the service, right? Even before formally joining the company, they didn't know anything about me, of course. And it was quite quick. I remember that obviously it was not as developed as now. Like looking back, I would say it was a prehistory sort of saying. We didn't have a lot of algorithm in place. We didn't have a lot of features for the customer. So it was pretty quite direct. Here are the products. Choose them, we deliver to you, choose the time slots, today, tomorrow, etc. But I found myself very satisfied because at the end of the day, I received my groceries. I didn't know anything about the city. So even where the supermarket was, for me, was a bit unknown. So I didn't know actually how much time I saved or the fees that I saved. But I was very satisfied because it felt to me that, okay, the service is there. Of course, we can improve it. Let's work with the team to put this together and grow the business and ultimately make sure that everyone gets to know about a new way to do groceries. I must say that if you go even just like 3-4 years ago, it was way less known, a service like HappyFresh or others, to shop for groceries online. I would receive a lot of eyebrows. Oh, HappyFresh, what are you guys doing? Oh, this service exists, right? Like right now, actually, it's getting out there, even pre-COVID, right? Yeah.
Okay. Well, we only have 5 minutes left, so I want to see if the audience has already given us question before we continue, because I still have a lot of questions for you. Actually, it would be so egoistic of me. Let me ask. Anyway, so there's still no question, so I'm going to continue with my question. Do you think delivery culture will become a new normal, or people will eventually go back to the way it was?
I think there will be, as I said, there is a lot of people are thriving to go back, but I think they realize that they cannot 100%. we will move to new habits, right? And online services will definitely one of them.
Okay, so are you saying that it's going to be a mix of both in the future?
People will start to go out of their houses, right? Things will be safer. But as I said, there are still like a good 2 years, in my opinion, at least, from where we consider ourselves fully safe. And let's not forget that there could be like other viruses or bacteria out there that could spread. We hope not. Ultimately, this has been like a situation that none of us in our lifetime ever experienced, right? The previous pandemic was in the early 1920s, right? 1918 with the Hispanic flu. So none of us has ever witnessed this.
Okay.
In a new world with full of online media communication and ways of consuming services. So there will be new habits. Online services and deliveries will be definitely one of them. They already existed. They got fast-tracked, but I'm absolutely sure as well that people will not move 110% on just relying on online services. We are, in my opinion, social animals at the end. We want to be with others. I'm Italian, so for me it's also very, very fun to me. Like, we like to be with people, but we will be able to. We just need to take precautions, right?
Right. Okay, we have one question from the audience. This probably would be the last question. If we have enough time, I'm going to add another question. I would love to ask you more questions, actually. All right. How to keep the product hygiene during this pandemic?
Yeah, that's a very good question. So let's start for the fact that we collaborate and partner with supermarkets. So the tracing of the products that are received are already in a condition to be considered safe, because supermarkets are already following all the regulations around the freshness of the product, the traceability, the provenance, and so on, right? So we adhere to the same rules that are happening at supermarkets. On top of that, since start of the pandemic, so since early March, we have started to provide all PPEs personal product equipments to our personal shoppers. So they are wearing gloves, they're wearing masks. Recently, we also added face shields. We provided hand sanitizer, hand gel also to the riders, so that they can, wash their hands also when are on duty to deliver. We remind them also to wash their hands often throughout the day. So in that sense, this is like the new aspects of keeping product safe and clean. But apart from that, as I mentioned, like that's always been like our first priority. And we know that Jakarta, Bangkok, Kuala Lumpur, like the cities where we operate are very hot cities. The heat is real. If you deliver ice creams, obviously you need to take precautions measures. You cannot just put it on a bag and deliver, right? So we have thermal insulation packaging. We have thermal insulated bags, the one that I hope most of the audience have seen around Jakarta and the cities we operate, to make sure that this cold chain doesn't get lost. Obviously, sometimes there are little accidents and problems, like anything you can order online, something could go wrong, as well as when you're in a supermarket, there could be some spoilage as well. We take also, of course, like a full refund policy, so rejection policy. So if when you receive your products, you see something that is not as you expected or not as good as you would have picked it yourself, you can file a complaint, and of course we would just take the product back. But this is happening very rarely.
Right. Okay, that is very convenient. Okay. We have some more questions, but I don't think we have enough time to answer them. But let me sum it up a little bit before we close. Delivery service is becoming more and more essentials to our life. And individually, we could take many benefits adapting to this culture, from time saving to minimizing physical contacts as we continue to fight the virus COVID-19. HappyFresh, with its grocery service, will continue to develop and support more people getting their daily needs delivered. As the delivery culture grows, all kinds of businesses should see this as an opportunity to build a good strategy welcoming new normal era. Together, we could all make the most of this jump-started delivery culture. Thank you so much for being here, Mr. Candrini, Filippo. Thank you so much for your time.
Thank you, everyone.
Good luck. Good luck for HappyFresh and on every project you may encounter in the future. Please stay healthy.
Thank you. You too. Please, everyone, stay healthy at home.
Terima kasih juga kepada Video dan Cakap sebagai streaming partner, Benih Baik sebagai charity partner, serta pendukung acara lainnya Sampurna University sebagai presenting partner untuk channel Business dan Lifestyle, Merch, Indica Energy, Petrosa, British Council, Plus Indonesia, dan Plus Jakarta. Terima kasih telah menyaksikan sesi Jumpstarting Delivery Culture. Jangan lupa untuk cek channel lain, karena masih banyak kemeriahan di Disrupto Fest 2020 selama 2 hari ini. Setelah ini ada sesi Experimentation Matters to Brands in the Post-Pandemic World bersama Adri Reksodiputro dan Almira Shinantia. Jadi jangan kemana-mana, saya Idelia Risella, undur diri, sampai jumpa.